Dennis, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Actually, welcome back. So,
I'm back at home at the Crighton Theater.
thank goodness.
Yeah.
How did you get started in theater?
How did I get started in theater? Well, in kindergarten I played one of the mice in Cinderella, and I remember that. And then it was years later in college. Well, actually I did a small bit in high school, but then years later in college I was studying, and they didn't have any place to do auditions, and they were doing auditions right there where I was studying, and so obviously I was a warm body, and so they said, "You want to audition?" And yeah, I got the role as Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh at the Thomas More College Theater in Kentucky, in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. And I went on stage, and boy, it was love. I was supposed to be a poet. I was going to be a writer,
right.
you know. And once I hit that stage, then I fell in love. Change your major.
So did you actually major in theater?
No, well, yes, I did. I majored in theater. Finally, I started out majoring in English to be a poet and a writer. And but once I hit the stage, it was I didn't care for anything more than theater.
What was your specialization?
Comic character acting. What do you mean specialization?
Well, I mean, did you get it? Some people. I heard you can get a master's in production. You can get a
No.
master's in
This was a small Catholic college.
Yeah.
I went through Catholic grade school, high school, and college, so you know I was filled with guilt and shame.
And your stick, that's the ruler has been hitting you enough times. Yeah.
I had that. That's why I could relate to nonsense when Jim Frazier got me to help out with that here.
So there's a big span. It sounds like you didn't do anything except between the first time you did something, and then you went to college. There's not much in high school, and
no. The closest I came to entertaining was I became a cheerleader because the football players all became too big. I was a sports kid, and about the second year, everybody got too big, and they were just beating me up. So I quit football. And well, I did drama, the speech and debate. Got into that a little bit. So it was underlying in my life, the entertaining part of it, and I got a trophy for doing what was it? The Don't Eat the Daisies. I did the. She wore a reversible, and when she reversed a reversible, she was still naked. You know, and I did that in high school, and I got a trophy for it. And then when the high school production came, of course I got involved in that. But I was just a chorus member. But I loved all the aspects of it. You know, love the lights.
So you got a degree in theater. So when you
I almost got a degree in theater.
Almost. Wait a minute.
Yeah, 3.5 years I went. And then
happened?
they told me that I was going to have to take a biology course because I was at a liberal arts college.
Right.
And I said, I'm an actor. I'm an actor. I don't want to take a biology course. What's that got to do with anything? And they said, well, you have to take that for your degree. And I said, then the hell with the degree. I'm an actor. And so I was this close to a college degree and said no because I refused to. But that was the early 70s, and there was a lot of influences, so to speak. A hippie in theater at that point does not follow the rules. Yeah. You know, we don't follow the rules. Sorry.
Right, so you almost got this theater degree.
I almost got a theater degree. Yeah.
So what did you do when you get out? That was it?
Yeah, well, I hit the road. I lived the life of a alternative generation hippie and traveled across the country with many friends of mine. Lived in communes, went out west, sold everything I owned to go out west and see a Grateful Dead concert, and that was my only aim at that point, was to go to that Grateful Dead concert. And,
so that would be
I did it. I did it. 70.
71.
72, 3. I don't know. No, I say if you can remember, you weren't there, and I'm not too sure. I could look at the files. I actually wrote all that stuff down and talked to my friends.
Right.
And I have those dates written down somewhere.
To remind yourself, like, oh yeah, that's what
Yeah,
that was.
what year I was at Kezar Stadium to see the Dead and New Riders and Waylon Jennings, and
Oh gracious.
from there I stayed out on the road. I put 25,000 miles on my thumb, and I studied people. You know, well, I know what point it was. I was in jail for possession of pot, and I became a Christian, and I went out and started evangelizing the world, and
Oh my goodness.
so I studied a lot of spirituality. I spent a large portion of my time studying spirituality and what made humans tick. Which, when I finally did get back into the theater, it was really good for me, because I had seen the in and outs of the streets.
Right.
You know, I'd been poor and dead on the streets,
And they've done that.
and so it helped me. It helped me in getting a feel for human nature, which, if you're going to be an actor, you have to be able to step into a lot of different shoes.
Right. So you said you did this observation of people. What did you find most interesting during your
Oh my God,
observations?
everything I found interesting. Everything I found interesting. Oh my God, for some reason I'm thinking of an old Navajo Indian that had been arrested for possession of petrified wood in Arizona. I mean, that petrified wood is everywhere.
Yeah.
His
How can you get
family, his
arrested for that?
tribe.
How can you get arrested for that?
It's a federal offense to have petrified wood, and he had been in and out of the jail a million times, and I was the head trustee in the kitchen at that point, and he came in as a trustee. And when you come in as a trustee, you got to wash dishes first.
Right.
That's what you do. That's the bottom line. You move up to dryer, and then you move up to put her awayer, and then you move up to stir of the beans. You know, the longer you're there, and then somebody else comes in and they take your place. Well, this old man, he was 80 years old or whatever, a very wise old Navajo Indian, and he came in to wash dishes, and he was replacing this young guy who was really tough, really street tough, mean son of a bitch, and so the old man's hands started getting red from washing dishes in these big sinks, and I said, as head trustee in charge, I said, I'll tell you what, he's in real deep trouble here. I need you to take over his job, you know. And the mean guy says, no way. I moved up. I'm not going back. You know, and he was stood like 3 feet taller than I am. You know, and it turns out he had a lot of warrants against him. He was actually later on arrested in jail in the kitchen, and the guards came in and arrested him again and took him out. So he was a mean guy, and so I said, okay, I'm going to wash dishes, and you're going to move out. And the old man's going to move out, and me, the head trustee, is going to wash the dishes. So that kind of character study of faces of the old man as he tries to process this. Why is the head guy taking my place? Right. And then the mean guy going, why is this head guy doing this? Right. That was fun. That was fun.
So, from this observation of people, can you size up somebody pretty quickly? Like what kind of person they are, or they're, you know?
No, I don't. I have tried to stay away from judging, because I'm no good at I'm no good at knowing the truth about people. Right. What I do is I accept them for who they are telling me they are. You know, and it's not my job to say whether it's a lie or it's the truth. It's the truth to them, whoever they say they are. You know, and go from there. And it makes life a lot more peaceful rather than to judge people and to know whether they're telling you the truth or lying and stuff. No, I've been taken to the cleaners a million times, and I will be taken to the cleaners a million times more. No, it's not my job to judge people. It's my job to be able to act as they are.
Right.
To be able to take whatever aspect it is of them that I find most interesting and incorporate that into a character. We are talking theater here, right?
Yes, we are.
We're not talking real life.
No,
Okay,
it's for theater. But depending on your school of what type of acting style that you're into, some people believe, that you have to actually be that person or actually have lived it. Then there's the Laurence Olivier school, right? Well, just act, right? And there's some things in between. Yeah, and there's a lot of.
I find myself in between.
Yeah.
I do. I study a character. If I'm given a character, I study them and I create a background for them. If one does not exist, but then I have to create a whole new character that is mine on stage,
right.
and so there are aspects of that character which I can bring to it from my past that have nothing to do with this guy, because there was nothing written in the script or anywhere underlined that says he talked like this. He never talked like this. But I thought that maybe that would sound better for him, and the audience would appreciate it more if he talked like this. So that's what I did, and it's whatever talents I have, I bring to it.
Are there any characters that you find dangerous?
Dangerous?
Yeah.
Dangerous in what sense?
Well, because every actor gives some part of themselves, and whatever their character they're taking on sometimes becomes part of them. That's what I'm talking about. And so, yeah.
No, there's no such thing as a dangerous character. No, there's no such thing as a dangerous aspect of a person's spirit that I would consider dangerous. No, not dangerous. One that might cause him a lot more trouble than he deserves. Yeah. One of my most favorite characters was from Lone Star, when I played Ray. And I really enjoyed Ray, and he was really fun to do, and he was dumber than dirt, and I liked him. And a lot of times I'll kind of fall into that with people and just give this blank stare, and people react to me like I'm. It can affect how they react to me in real life, but I fall into characters really easily, really easily, and it's great. It's great to be around kids and do that, which I spent a large portion of my career doing, working with kids, and adults sometimes have trouble with those attitudes.
Attitudes
that I present. Well, the attitudes, the attitudes of. Who gives a shit, what's it matter? And in a serious world where things have to matter, somebody that walks into a situation and says, what's the matter? It's all going to be fine, kind of sets people off.
No, not everyone, but I can understand. Yeah, I might set some people off.
Yeah, I have no idea where that went.
I have that one. Well, Dean Martin used to have that one, right? There's an old saying, there's the Italian saying, which translates to don't give a crap. There's a more colorful version of that.
Yeah.
And that used to be basically his mantra.
Yeah.
That's attitude towards life.
Yeah, the Brat Pack.
The Rat Pack, yeah.
The Rat Pack, the Brat Pack. Yeah, they put out that attitude, sure. But I don't know. I have an awful lot of stuff within me and an awful lot of information about human beings that I bring to the stage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're kind of something we talk about different techniques with people, and you talk about the backstory. That is exactly what Carolyn does. So it creates this whole character and the whole background. And it seems that, I'm not saying that you have to do that as a good character actor, but it seems to be the good character actors do seem something like that.
Yeah.
Where they get this, build this story, build this character, layer on layer.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's a very subtle thing, but it's integral to that person's character. You know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, 70s, you had this itinerant life, but sooner or later you gave it up. So, what happened? And what made you change? What did you do?
I never gave up anything. I just chose different paths. You know, I walked different paths in life, and I walked a lot of different paths in life. I found myself needing more steady work when I was in Conroe, and acting had been prehistoric at that point in my life, and I started working for the Sacred Heart Church here in Conroe as the operations manager, and lo and behold, Jean Brazier was head honcho there. She was more important than the monsignors and the priests or anything. Jean Brazier ran the show the same way she directed a show on stage. And lo and behold, as soon as I started there, she was doing Camelot here.
Right.
And so at some point, I guess we shared, I shared the fact that I had done theater, you know, that I was educated as an actor. And she said, well, you got to come down and audition. Well, you come down and audition. Yes, ma'am, I'm coming down and audition. And that was really a turning point for me as far as my theater involvement in theater. Was that I came down and I went upstairs and auditioned for Camelot, and it all came back to me. I mean, it all came flowing back to me. They gave me this character, and I just became Pellinora, you know, and I became Arthur. You know, I thought I should have been Arthur, but Monroe Taylor pretty much had that down, and thank God there was no chance of me becoming Arthur or the romantic lead. But the Pellinor character was just fine, and I really enjoyed that, and I did one hell of a job of it. So I'm told.
That, you know, Camelot used to be one of my favorite musicals.
Yeah.
That's, you know, there's plenty of other musicals you start learning over time, but and it is such a classic story.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Camelot? I would say that was your first show here. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it
that's
was
always
my first
special.
show here.
That's always special.
Oh,
here,
absolutely.
right?
But what a start!
Yeah.
It sold out, standing room only for nights on end. You know. Monroe Taylor was Arthur, and he was an icon here. You looked around all the pictures all over this place, and you saw Monroe and everything. And then next to him was Claudette Rogers, who played Guinevere, you know. And so her picture was everywhere in all of the most famous shows at the Crighton Theater since the Crighton Players arrived here from their garage days. Shit. And then there was Charlie Trotter, who played Merlin, the best actor that I have ever seen in Conroe, that I've ever acted with, personally, ever acted with. Charlie Trotter, he set the mark high, and he played Merlin, and so I happened to just walk into one of the finest productions ever at the Crighton Theater, you know, and got a peach of a role to do that. You know, it was great fun, and lots and lots of the people that I was in that show with are still dear friends of mine that I acted with later. You know, the chorus members who stepped up and became leads in many plays, and I acted with in JL Productions. And in a lot of different places, and when I did Let Me Shine, the theater company that I started, they came in and helped me with those relationships that I developed are lifelong, and that's the beauty of community theater.
let's talk about Let It Shine. I'm sorry.
Let Me Shine.
Let Me Shine. Talk about that. Why did you start Let Me Shine?
I had to leave the Sacred Heart because I had cluster headaches. You can just Google cluster headaches and find out how nasty that is. And so I found myself just without anything to do, really, and the cluster headaches kept me from being able to do what I needed to do to earn money. And so it was like, well, I have to do something. And what do I love? I love the theater. And what do I love? My son, Adam, is severely handicapped, and he's been on stage with me numerous times, and he loves theater. And so I decided to start a nonprofit organization dedicated to bringing the arts, performance arts,
Right.
to kids that were disabled and disadvantaged. And that became a whole world of joy for me to do that. And we did productions in libraries and at the women's shelter. We took our show on the road to a lot of places, and we did 2 big Christmas shows here, the Captain Trips Christmas specials, because most everything I did with Let Me Shine when I dealt with the kids, I was a pirate. I dressed up as a pirate, and I was Captain Trips. Oh, come on, get in there now. We can do this. Hello, welcome to the show. You know, a kind of not the Johnny Depp pirate, by a stretch of the imagination, but more a cross between Ray from Lone Star, oh, you know, how you doing there, boy, and a pirate. So I was kind of a dumb pirate, and I enjoyed the, you know, and I drew the kids in with that to the performance aspects of theater, and I put them on stage, and I put them in front of the spotlight on the Crighton stage. You know, I had kids that would never, ever, ever have a chance to ever be on stage, much less be in the spotlight, center stage, singing a song or doing their dance or whatever. And I knew from within me and my son that once you have that moment on stage, once you have that glorious audience clapping and laughing,
the wave of love,
and with you, the wave of love. That's very good, Steve. I like that. The wave of love, that no one's ever going to take that away from you.
No.
I don't care what happens the rest of your life. No matter how bad life becomes, you'll have that within yourself. And so that is all I was trying to do, is to produce that moment, to give kids that moment who would never have that moment available to them, and we did it. And so that was the why and wherefore of that. And
no, that's incredible.
It's a great stuff.
I know a lot of people that first, you know, they get a theater degree or whatever, and they want to start their own production company. They want to have their own place and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to discourage them, but from you, having started your own production company, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh, I don't know about starting your own production company. This was far from starting a theater production company. This was more an affair of the heart.
Yeah.
And it went much deeper. It just so happens that the theater aspect of it was something that was dear to me and that I could bring to someone else. I have no advice whatsoever to anyone starting a production company, other than a million times someone has said, follow your heart, follow your dreams, you know, and beyond that, if you need more than that, I don't know. If you're looking at the bottom line of money and all that stuff, forget it. You'll never do it.
It's not everything, but it can certainly get.
Yeah, might as well be everything. Might as well be everything.
Because you said the other stuff, you know, like I said, if it's not really in your heart, not really part of you or the core of your being, I don't think you make it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can make it.
Well,
and I think that's why that's why you were successful.
I suppose you can make it. There's lots of people that I don't think that the rich people the very successful people financially out there in the theater could draw everything back to that which was from their heart. They were good businessmen. They pulled strings. They knew people in City Hall. They knew politicians. You know, so to get rich and be successful in it is another thing altogether.
I agree.
Altogether.
What is success? You know, what is that? You know, and that is different for each person, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do think that, like I said, at the end of the day, if you have that passion for it, that's going to carry with you the rest of your life. And it's not just you; it's the people that you touch.
Right.
And it sounds like there were a lot of people that that were touched by the things that you did. To me, that's a success.
Yeah, and a lot of people touched me too.
Absolutely.
To see a young man, an autistic young man, who with basically no social skills, find his way into that spotlight, singing Jingle Bells.
Right.
Oh my God. And he blossomed backstage.
Right.
You know, backstage was where it really happened. With him was this camaraderie, because when we did our Christmas shows here, Captain Tripp's annual Christmas special, and Ryan backstage came alive, because you had all these old Crighton people that were helping me, and other people from other aspects of my life that I drew in who'd never been on stage before, adults, and then you had all these kid actors. Who some of which are very professional, from the Woodlands, from Class Act were there, and you had this wide range of characters enjoy in backstage there, and he just fell into it because he was one of them.
Right.
He was not this guy watching. He was a member of the cast. And we were so loose. It was so vaudeville.
So where were we? Okay, we were talking about We Shine. So how long did you do Let Me Shine?
From around 2003 to 2007, when I left Texas to move to New York.
Is it that long ago?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! It's so that long since you've been gone.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I was talking about the vaudeville aspects of that.
Yes.
And I saw it. There I am in New York, and I'm Googling, and I see vaudeville comes back to the Crighton. And say, no, I brought vaudeville back to the Crighton.
That's a difference,
suckers.
Actually, there was a lot of vaudeville type shows, but to give Glenn credit, rest his soul, he wanted an authentic vaudeville show. It meant it had to be all from that period. It had to be very period. It had to be very period. So all the acts from the other thing was licensing too. You go back far enough, 75 years. I'm sorry, you can't collect anything on this. It's too friggin' old. Yeah. No, the intent is he wanted an authentic vaudeville show. Not mean vaudeville-esque. That's fine. There's plenty of those, and those are great. They're also cheap. But no, in fact, he wanted almost like Busby Berkeley type. Yeah. I don't think we can do that.
Well, the beauty that the Crighton Theater was built for vaudeville.
Yes.
You know, that Harry Crighton actually built it for vaudeville, and vaudeville, as the Crighton became an entity, vaudeville dropped, and it never appeared on the stage. No. That's a strange.
But the same thing, someone can find it's a renaissance. Think about the variety show. It's really a vaudeville type show, like the Carol Burnett show or any of those types of Barbara Mandrell show. I mean, there was a time in the 70s where it was all these variety shows and stuff like that. And probably even be the precursor to that, like Mike Douglas show, or, Ed Sullivan. They tried to bring on talent, new folks. And so...
George Goebel.
But I don't think you could do that now. What do you think is different about kids today versus ever? Is there anything different?
What?
Yeah.
What's that kind of transition?
Well,
you went from vaudeville and variety shows to kids today.
That's right. Well, Let Me shine. I mean, you was a kid, vaudeville. I mean, we involved a lot of kids. They didn't even know what vaudeville was. We had to explain it.
Yeah. No, I think that what you have is a rush of entertainment styles. You have different song. You go from a deep melody, a deep dramatic song sung by a wonderful player, to the slapstick, and to a musical, to many different styles, which entice the senses, that they're just wonderful for a person's mind when they're sitting in the audience, and they get all these jumps, these leaps. It's almost like switching channel, taking your remote and whoa, there we go. There's Seinfeld. Whoa, there's something on Channel 8 that's deep and all the way to the news. Click, click, click. And it's just fun to have those different aspects of theater presented. And for my shows, what made the Christmas special so great was because I asked these kids, "What do you want to do? You can do anything you want to do, anything." I had a young girl who I asked, what do you want to do? You're in the show. You don't have to audition. And she says, I do cheerleading. Cheerleading it is. So when Wes Bush, as the bad elf smoking a cigar, came out and set up the sign on the side of the stage, now we have a cheerleading show. And she did her act with her friends, and boom, and that was that. And she had a wonderful time and got a great applause, and we went on to there from the next thing. So it was really great to be able to ask these kids, you can do whatever you want to do, and you are center stage. I don't know. There's nothing could ever take that away from me, as there's nothing that could ever take that spotlight away from them.
So we went to Camelot. What did you do after Camelot? So you were hooked, grease paint in your blood. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
then I did. Whenever I had time, I auditioned for everything and anything that occurred, and I don't even know I don't think I know the chronological order of it. I had to bring my cheat sheet here because I did like 30 different shows, of all varieties, and mostly comic character actors, everywhere from Snoopy and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, to Arnold and The Boys Next Door, and Harry and Stalag 17.
Well, that's interesting. The Boys Next Door. Let's talk about Boys Next Door, because it does have comic moments, but it's really a drama, and it's got some powerful moments in there too.
Oh, that was great.
Some of the best theater I ever saw. Ace Theater did Boys Next Door.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, hardly anyone saw it. But the actors were incredible, and they gelled, and they still friends to this day, and still keep up with each other and follow each other.
Yeah.
Even more so than your typical cast. Sometimes casts gel just for the time that they're together,
right,
and they go their separate ways.
Yeah.
But for that particular play, no, it was very special. Tell me about your experience with Boys Next Door.
Oh, Boys Next Door was I did not know what it was. With most plays, I have a classical background in theater,
right,
from the college, but I didn't go to a lot of shows,
right,
and so I didn't know a lot about the plays that I auditioned for.
Right.
I usually walked in and went, okay, what's this about? I sat down at the audition, and I remember The Boys Next Door. I had no idea, and I fell into Arnold, who was the narrator character for that, and I didn't get it right away. Paul Sinblad,
okay, Paul, yes,
an old Crighton player, who became director,
yes,
chose that, and it came down to callbacks, and I can remember sitting outside on the because I didn't have anything for Arnold. I was reading it, and I was sitting out on the seat outside on Simonton, right before the callback, and all of a sudden, this Jew had a New York Jewish background, and he was kind of, "Hello, I'm Arnold," just came to me. I was sitting there. and I dealt with some disabled folks, and I realized that Arnold was really a great guy, and somehow the voice came, and the moment the character came into my heart for Arnold, and I walked up and got the role, and it was truly amazing. It was the first show I did with Joey. He played a very lost soul, very mentally on the low end, and did a wonderful job. And gosh, I wish I could remember their names, the cast, because I used to sit in the wings and watch the donut scene, and I'm old, plus I'm forgetful. The names escape me, but I know these people so well. I used to watch their donut scene every night and laugh. It was one of the finest moments of theater that I have ever been connected with. And actually, she may still be, for all I know, a drama teacher, and works with special ed kids in, I believe it was New Caney, and she brought one of the kids up to Let Me Shine, to the Christmas show. But God, what an amazing show that was, to be able to bring that to the forefront, where people could laugh at people with disabilities.
To laugh with them.
Yeah.
Who played the father? Because that's a powerful scene, father, and I can't remember the character where he comes and berates his son, and he just basically just shrivels up. I don't want to see, but who played the father?
It was a
great
scene.
To be one of these these crawlers that come underneath. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The real name was that. But no, I'd never seen it before, and I was so dismayed that so few people got to see it, at least when I saw it, but a different place.
Yeah, and I noticed that the Crighton players had just put a whole bunch of all of the group photos up from the beginning of time to that, and The Boys Next Door is not in there.
It's not in there.
No, it is not in there, and it really. I would probably be able to give you the father's name, because I looked at all of them, and I went, whoa. Curtis played the character who gets berated.
Yeah.
And I can't pull the father out. Although it was a great scene.
Oh no,
it was, and I can remember the scene.
Oh my goodness.
You know, I can remember the scene very much. And I remember the last scene that I'm in. I'm sitting in a train station. You know, because I'm moving away, because I'm going to take a train to Russia, I think it was. And I'm sitting there going to take a train to Russia, and God, emotions that are just pumping through you at that moment. And hopefully, you know, I'm using everything in my face to project that to the audience and get there, just grab their heart and just squeeze that, you know. And because I'm stage right and I'm downstage, and it's a great moment. And if you know the Crighton Theater, trains come by.
Yes, they do. Did one come by just at the right time?
By. Oh, I'm telling you. Woof, woof, and this train is in the distance. Yeah, it was sweet. Didn't happen every night.
No, of
but
course
boy, I remember that night with that train screaming in the background. And, you know, I can't put that out in my face, but I'm just like, oh, this is
perfect.
This is sweet. That was sweet. So,
some other shows. Tell me some other shows you did.
Oh my God. Snoopy was a great show. I mean, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Yes.
You know, I was old at that point compared to all the other kids. Were young, great talent. But Snoopy, oh my God, I got to use all of my voices. You know, I got to do the whole Robin Williams thing, where Snoopy would go from the flying the plane to song and dance, top hat with a cane. And O.A. Melvin directed it, and then he brought in a dance instructor for me, because I had to actually do a really fancy soft shoe with a top hat and cane and bring it all together. And I'm not a dancer. I'm not not a dancer. And so this guy tried to teach me, and I just, we had to shave it down, keep shaving it down to, okay, I can only do these many steps, I can barely turn and spin. But it was great fun, and I had to sing at the same time and dance, which, shoot me in the foot. I'm not going to do this very well, because, okay, I got this dance step down, but now the lines are completely out of my mind. That leads me to singing and dancing on stage, and I have never been, I have a good voice. I have a great singing voice, but when I hit the stage, I just kind of lose it, and I just can't do it very well. In Fantastics, got the lead in Fantastics, El Gallo, and I had to sing and dance on stage, and I had to sing, and I swear to God, I studied those lines so many. Try to remember a time in September. It's ironic. Those are the lines. Those are the lyrics. And I don't think I ever sung that song twice the same way. And there was a point at which I was stage left, and it's on video, unfortunately, where there was a song, and I'm singing, and I went into blah, blah, blah. And I sang blah, blah, blah from the Crighton stage during a production. Because they just escape me. I can memorize. I had one show where they brought me in at the last point, and I had 4 days to memorize 400 lines, and I did it. I had a lot of cheat sheets around, but I did it. And acting lines, I can remember because there's the eyes of the person you're talking to, there's the moment, there's all types of ways of remembering lines, plus there's the pregnant pause. And I'll remember that line in a second, and I'll give it really well, and I can do that, and pull that off. But in singing, it's boom, boom, boom. You cannot take a pregnant pause.
No.
The notes are coming like this, and you have to remember the next line, and I have no idea what I'm singing now because I'm supposed to. And I
just do it to the beat.
I did it, but it was great fun during Charlie Brown because I remembered almost everything there was to remember. Plus, I put on such a big show that who cares? They don't pass out the words to the audience, and they don't know what you're supposed to be singing. They have no idea this song sounded different last night. So that was great. That was great fun to work with those kids. And I worked with Sean Michael Teague in that show. Becky Teague's brother.
Yes.
And
he's doing voiceover and script work for anime.
He did it for a long time. I think he's back in town, and I don't know that he's doing that anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And he just played a great Linus. He was the embodiment of Linus. That much I remember about that show, working with Sean in that show.
I only get to see him every now and then. So I didn't know that he was back. He was in Dallas for the longest time, and Dallas started trying to build their own studios. And he was making good money doing, he'd always tell us about all these silly lines that wouldn't translate to English.
He talk like this, and a Chinese guy, and
I did. He came in and worked with one of my Christmas shows. He came and brought in his actual animation and his voiceovers, and the kids were really impressed with that. There's this voice of this guy, and there he is standing right there, and this old little Chinese guy. I don't know. I don't follow the anime that much.
I don't follow it either, but the way I see, I used to watch Speed Racer.
Well,
but it's Spanish. That was just back in the 60s and 70s, and of course I always liked it how the mouths would move, but nothing's coming out, or there's a lot of sound going, mouths aren't moving. What is it?
Hello, how are you? I'm fine. How are you?
And in fact, in Venezuela, they didn't even call it Speed Racer. It was called something completely different. So when I came up here and I called it by what was the translated name, nobody had a clue what I was talking about. They were like, what are you talking about? And then that's it. Oh, you mean Speed Racer? Oh, okay, now we're talking.
Now we got it.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, he did. He showed the audience how that works during one of the Christmas specials. Like I said, we were up for anything.
Oh yeah.
And I called up Sean. I said, "What can you give me, brother?"
He's a great guy.
And that's what he gave us, and it was a really cool thing. Stalag 17. Oh my God, I got to play Harry in that. A peach role. I don't know if I could have ever asked for a nicer role than Harry, who is just this, crazy guy who always wore his underwear. And I got to work with Joey Lamont on that. We were like this together in the role, and oh my God, that was fun. That was great fun. And I got the funniest lines, I got to really put it out there. And I certainly love to do that in front of an audience, is to just milk them for all their worth, with every pause and facial motion, and body expression. Apparently I'm good at it, so I really
let's talk about that, because surprisingly, not all actors have this. I mean, you do mostly comedies. It's about comic timing. How does an actor acquire comic timing?
Oh, geez, I have no.
But you've got it. You've got it.
I know that I have.
And when someone else has it, and when they don't, right?
I certainly do. Yes.
But how do you teach them? You're like, your pace is all off, or what are you?
I don't know. There comes a moment, and I say that I can teach it. I told people that I can teach it,
Right.
And some people have proven me dirt wrong on that.
Mm-hmm.
That they refuse to listen. They refuse to do what I'm telling them to do.
Right.
That this is what you need to do.
Right.
And for some people, like your wife, Carolyn, it's like falling off a log. It's somehow,
but it's not for everyone.
It's inside us.
Like singing, right? There's some people they're off tune, and you try to explain. You're off to, you're missing the note, and they don't get it.
Yeah, I suppose it's you have to have this little guy that sits in the back of your head,
Mm-hmm.
and who is in control of this.
Right.
Is in control of this.
Right.
Who can sit back there and control this body,
Mm-hmm.
and also have one eye on the audience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That you have to be able to be in almost 2 or 3 places at once. You
Right.
have to be aware of the audience. You have to be able to see with the audience and see what this looks like. Right. You have to be able to know what you look like from an audience point of view, and know that you have to know when you're overdoing it, and you have to know when you've done it just enough.
Right.
And that is so hard to explain to someone.
Well, that's an important point too. I hadn't really thought about. We know it instinctively. That's the connection with the audience.
Yeah.
It's that listening. You're acting, but at the same time, you're observing them.
Absolutely.
Is what you're doing working or not working? Is there some resonance there? Are you making a connection, or no? They're out to lunch.
You're not so much observing them as
Right.
you are looking at you with their eyes.
Exactly. Because you can tell it's working or something's not working. I better, step it up or do something different, because whatever I'm doing is not working.
Well, it's the person that knows that when you're on stage, you have to have a where your face is too.
Right.
You do not turn your back on the audience unless in specific moments when it's needed. But for the most part, lines to the audience. Even though I'm talking to Steven, I'm playing to the camera right now,
right.
and sure I'm talking to you, but
Yeah.
what is most important is that the audience
Right.
is getting this.
Right.
So that's a big part of it, and it's amazing that in myself that I can see why I audition so well.
Right.
I can audition hell because I'm reading one line ahead of the one I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ahead of myself.
Right.
One line, And so I can do things in an audition that a lot of people can't.
Right.
Because I'm one line, I'm already reading the next line.
See, I can't do
And
that.
knowing that this is leading into that, so
Right.
so I'm getting a little unstuck in time for myself, because this line that I'm actually giving, I can see where it's going.
Right.
And so that makes it look like I've read this whole script.
Right.
And I really know this character, and I
Right.
really don't know him.
You can pick it up quickly.
I'm just guessing what is going to happen next.
Right.
And so I'm going to either go deep serious,
Right.
or I'm going to go full blown, because I know that's where it's going next.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a talent that I can't give to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just know that I have it.
Did you get better at it over time?
Oh yeah. I've got better at it over time. And knowing where your director is,
Right.
knowing where your casting people are. Auditions are a great thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I see some people come in with blocking.
Blocking? Well, they already have it pre-blocked in
there's
their head.
there's lots of folks that come in
Well,
with blocking.
I think I know what you're talking about. You know what? I see that on stage, even live performances, and I say that's blocking. And what it really is it's an unmotivated move, right?
There you go.
If it's motivated, fine. Some people are really good at motivating it, and even though it is blocking, they've made it seem natural. And I think organic, what they call it these days. But if it seems natural, it's okay. And you don't have to be a trained person to be able to pick that out.
Oh
right?
yeah.
You can sit in the audience and be completely untrained.
Yeah,
You know,
all of a sudden,
I'm biased. I'm not buying this.
All of a sudden, the disbelief,
Right.
that disbelief, which constitutes poetic faith, as Coleridge said, disappears.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's an actor. The character's gone, the person's gone. Now they're moving as a rope. Now someone told them to do this.
Yes.
You know, and it's so much fun sometimes during auditions. And I'm just, the lines are what matter to me, the lines.
Yes.
And I'm reading, and all of a sudden this person's not there anymore. They're over here. And it's like, okay. Because they, for some reason, believe that they're supposed to do that, and it's not. I've never found it gives you much. You know, it doesn't lend any authenticity to your character to be going through these, or they start playing with props in an audition.
Right.
You know, and especially. Particularly cold readings.
Yes.
Now, if you're going into an audition where you have got to have it memorized, and the director has you on a stage with props,
Right.
that's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
That's one step above most of community theater. But as a cold reading situation, don't aim a prop at me, because I'm holding the script and I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to even notice it. You know, as you got a drink in your hand about to give me. No, thank you. That's blocking comes a little later in the production. You know, we haven't been cast yet. Let's just try to do the lines the best we can and develop a character. You know.
You brought up another point. It's interesting. We talk about auditions, and it's about interacting with others, because you are on a stage with other actors, but suppose the actor doesn't give you what you need. And that can happen a lot, especially in community theater. You know? Yeah, they kind of like, because they have a preconceived notion, like you said, the issue of blocking. Okay? They have a preconceived notion, this is what acting is about. You know, I say my lines a certain way, or I move this at a certain way, and it's not.
Yeah.
At least I don't think of it that way.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it is somewhat a reflection of life, maybe not a perfect reflection. And like I said, the untrained eye can tell this is not honest. You know, if it's not honest, we're gonna know it.
So you're asking me what it's like to be on stage with a bad actor?
Okay, for lack of a better word, yes. Yeah. What do you do? You know. the guy's, or whatever, whoever is, is the crap. What do you do?
I have never been on stage with a bad actor before. They've
let's
all
not say
been
bad actor.
just magnificent. They've given me everything I need. And I don't want to speak bad of the dead.
No. And then again, it's not more about technique. I guess it's more technique because certain people, need. You said the way that
lines are
responding.
nice.
Yes,
Lines are
lines
nice.
would be nice. Yes,
getting the lines that were rehearsed,
that were written,
might be nice. That were written in some fashion,
yes.
might be nice. We
Yeah.
got, and like I said, I don't want to speak bad of the dead, but I do have
no names.
I do have a moment that we're coming out the back door after the show and going around, and I say, can you just give the lines? Can you just, because I'm lost out there with, when you start going off on wherever and skipping pages and jumping back,
Yep.
it's kind of tough, and all basically is needed here
Yep.
is that you memorize the lines.
Yes.
Oh,
Not anymore.
so you're one of those. So you're one of those actors that wants to hear the lines to hear the lines. It's like, yeah.
It might be nice.
Yeah.
And also for your character.
And it was a very hard show for that person.
Mm-hmm.
That person did not have a whole lot of fun with that show because they were so scattered and I don't know what was going on personally with them, but they just couldn't catch up with us. And when I had it was a pretty good ensemble show where we were rolling, and this person would come out there and it was like, all right, what's gonna happen next? Who knows what they're going to say? Who knows what page they're going to be on? And we wide-eyed have to. Where are we going to go? Are we going to go back to where they're at, or are we going to proceed forward? And I love this person. I really like this person, but it was very hard to deal with that on stage.
Well, that's interesting.
And we put on a good show. They never gave the audience a script, so for the most part, the audience had no idea what was going on. It's just that, your gut is racing to find out where the hell we are. Because not that I have complete control over every single word, as much as I would love to. I have certainly blown many a line in my day, sung blah, blah, blah. So I've been in those shoes of the person that doesn't give you, and I guess I have been told that I bring people up.
Yes.
That when I'm on stage, I bring them up. I've had many actors who have said to me, "Whoa, you just brought me along," because I'll lock my eyes. And I will be no one but my character with them. We're not that backstage stuff.
This is not Dennis playing something.
No, this is not Dennis playing something. I'm after you. I'm after your character. And I'm going to react to whoever you are. And I need you to be who you're supposed to be on stage, And I'm going bigger. And if I need to hurt you, if I need to make you laugh, if I need to shoot something at you, if you start drifting away in your eyes, and I see your eyes drifting away, I'm going to shoot it right back at you and try to drag you back onto the stage with me. And I've had a lot of fun with younger actors too, that I try not to tell any actor how to do the role. I'm classically trained that that's a director's role. I'm not going to go backstage and tell you, you need to do this a little more. You need to do that a little more. You won't find me doing that, because that's really, God tells you what to do. And if some guy says, I need to know how to do this, I'll go to the director and say, hey, they asked me, they need to know how to do this.
Right.
Can I tell them?
Yeah.
And if God gives me the permission, then I'll do it. But for the most part, it's I can only control my world.
Right.
Now, I will say that in an ensemble piece,
right.
I'm gonna do this.
Right.
I'm gonna reach over and I'm gonna grab you by your arm and I'm gonna twist you around, or I'm gonna rub your head. Well, upstage arm. I'm going to rub your hand, and I'm going to do whatever. And
right.
we're going to, and that sometimes pulls a lot of people up and draws them into their character.
Yes.
Especially the younger, young kids that I'm up there with that don't have a lot of experience on stage and have no idea what it is to completely become that person.
Yes.
And to feel that joy of becoming that person and losing yourself and all of your, whoever yelled at you before you came on stage and all of it, no matter how many bills you got to pay and if your car is working.
That's gone.
And that's gone. Yes. We are here now. We've transformed ourselves and we're in a whole nother reality, you know.
That's great. Well, you talked about the director, so let's talk some about directors.
No, I have to go back.
Uh-oh.
I have to go back.
Okay,
I have to go back because we talked about losing lines and we talked about bringing people up, and because I'm thinking of the moment in Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes.
Becky T.
Yes.
Cast me as Kris Kringle.
Yes.
As fine a role as you're going to want.
You're always on
Santa
stage.
Claus.
You're always on stage.
You're Santa Claus, and there's only the only other role is playing Jesus Christ. Which could come anywhere close to it as far as well-known personalities that you're ever going to play.
Right.
And that was an amazing, I loved it. It was one of the high points of my career on stage. And off stage, and backstage, and you're Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You know, my God, you're Santa Claus.
You're an icon.
And I had Layla Murray... What's her name? I got the first two right. Layla Murray hyphen Schroeder.
Okay.
Schroeder. Layla. And she was playing with me on Miracle on 34th. And oh, what a professional little girl. She knew all her lines. She knew all my lines.
Yes.
She knew everybody's lines. She knew all her blocking, and she knew all my
Everyone else is
blocking.
blocking. That's right. Yep. It's about right.
She was as good as the best actor I've ever worked with on stage. Talk about an eye lock in in character. Oh my God! I remember us going downstage at one of the shows, and we're in the park, and I think I'm explaining to her how Santa Claus can't grant all the wishes.
Right.
Oh, big moment in the show. Big moment. Well, I got about 2 or 3 lines into that speech, and it was gone. I had nothing. I had nothing. I don't know where they went to.
Right.
And then again, I'm looking at myself from the audience.
Yes.
I'm seeing her. I'm in so many places at once at that, and I lost control. I lost the lines. You know, and everything was right except for I had no more words to say. And I looked down at her with this probably deer in the headlights look like I'm done. I ended the sentence like this, and it was, I'm done. And she just went boom, boom, went right on. And I get goosebumps just thinking about that moment because she was so professional. She knew what I was saying to her. She knew that I did not know my lines, and I was done, and let's go on now, shall we? And she just flowed right into it, and I'll never forget it. No one has ever given me that gift as much as she did on stage. No judgment. You know, no. What the hell's wrong with you? You forgot your lines, kind of thing. Oh man, she just flowed. And the audience had no idea. You know, it's unfortunate that they missed those last lines, which were really pretty nice and dramatic. But I'll never forget that. And
Wow.
throughout the whole show, she was that professional with me.
What's she doing now?
I do not know. I wish I did.
Yeah.
If she's not acting, it's a loss to
Yeah.
it's a loss to the audience
Mm-hmm.
to lose someone that good on stage. Anyway, and I've certainly lost lines before, but that moment was really great because no one knew it but she and I. And she never mentioned it.
Wow.
You know, she
Wow.
never mentioned it. Of course, I did. I
Right.
got backstage on my hands and knees. Going, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she was sweet.
Directors. Well, Becky's directed American on 34th many times that I know. Yeah. Directors in general. What do you look for from a director?
What do I look for in a director? I look for someone to watch the whole show and have a vision. And have a vision of the way they want it to go. And if I'm going outside of that vision, to pull me back. You know, if I'm going with that vision, to please tell me that I'm doing, or give me notes.
Right.
Give me notes. I don't care what kind of notes it is, but give me notes saying you did good,
Yes.
or you're outside where you need to fix it. There are some directors, Jean Brazier, the famous Jean Brazier, whose name's on a rock out there. She was what I would call a producer.
Okay.
She didn't direct much that I saw. She never directed me much. She produced an amazing show.
Right.
But she pretty much, she would say, I'm not here to teach acting.
Right.
Well, that's all right. But I need a little, I want a little more than that. Joe Weiser was probably the most intense director I ever had.
Yes.
I looked forward to acting with him for years, and finally got my chance in The Rainmaker, and my first dramatic role at the Crighton, and only really pure dramatic role at the Crighton. And he directed the crap out of you. I mean, blocking? No, you stepped this much too far. You stepped that much too far. And that's a man with a vision.
Right.
He's taking, and I think he may have said this at some point, that each moment on stage is a picture.
That's true. Yeah. A lot of people say that. That's true. That's the picture they're looking for.
And
Yes.
a lot of people can say it, but they're just blah, blah, blah. This man produced it. This man controlled it and directed it. And he gave me direction like I've never had, which made it the most challenging role I've ever had on stage. And yet one of the most fulfilling roles
Yes.
that I had on stage, because I really had to reach. My comic voice, which goes up and down, and
No.
Stephen, how are you? None.
No.
Boy, he just flattened it. He says, you've got to flatten your voice.
Yes.
And geez, I can't believe how hard that was. I cannot believe how hard it was to flatten my voice.
So what did you play?
To give one. I played Noah, the
played Noah.
older
Right.
son in Rainmaker, who
He's
really,
the responsible one.
who
Yes.
really, was very responsible, and who really gets mad and is ready to kill somebody. You know, who's ready and willing, and has a moment with their dad. And
Right.
the guy that played the dad, he hasn't done a lot at the Crighton since or before. But man, he played a great role in that, and those were great moments to be directed by Joe Weiser, because he can really be a pain in the ass, but he knows what he wants.
Yes.
You know, and he's an actor too,
Yes.
which makes a big difference.
Yep.
For a director, I've been directed by people who are not actors, and they don't know their butt from a hole in the ground with how I'm developing my character, or what the character development is. And so you just nod your head and say, okay, okay, and you really know that they're way out of their league, and that's community theater. There's
So,
some
and Joe's
directors
done a
who
lot.
are way
He's
out
done a lot of
there.
work, not just here at the Crighton, at the Owen, but also other places in town.
Sure,
the Playhouse
sure.
and other places around town. So yeah, he's well known.
Yeah, I enjoyed Marty Craig. I worked in a lot of shows with her, and I enjoyed. She's been an actress, and so she knows, and she feels. She has a feel for the stage. She
usually has a picture in mind,
working
too.
forever.
Picture. Yeah.
Been working forever, and I did a lot of great roles with her. And Paul Sittenblad, who worked
Yes.
early on. I saw him come from mediocre involvement in the theater, and he just stuck with it. He loved the theater, and not classically trained, but he knew what he liked, and he had a way of pulling out some of the good things from an actor, which really amazed me because I said, Paul was going to direct. Okay, I'll go with that. But he had a vision, and that came from love of the theater and being able to see from an audience viewpoint. And so I've worked with some directors that have years of experience, who are not much.
The years
not
don't
much
tell
as far.
anything.
The years don't tell anything.
Right.
And I've worked with brand new directors whom I thought were going to be really, this is not going to go well, who surprised the hell out of me and made a great production, you know, and who drew things out of me that I didn't know was there, and I love that from a director. You know, give me a challenge.
Have you ever had creative differences with the director?
Oh hell yeah! Oh yeah. I try not to let too many of them go too far, because I have the ability to say, I don't think that's right, and then they have the ability to say, okay, try it your way, and I like that. And then when I try it my way, and they say, go back to my way, forget that, we don't like that. I have to suck it up. They're God. They're seeing something that I'm not seeing, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it their way, and we're going to go on to the next scene. But there have been very far and few moments where that's occurred in my stage career, where I've had to really feel that they had no idea what they were doing. And that my way was better, and here I am doing it this way, and it's crap, and there the audience didn't laugh, and so it was crap, and
you're awful. You got this turmoil. You're like,
but there have been very few of those moments that existed. I think of Manny Cafeo. Oh, jeez, what a director he is.
He's detailed.
He can
very
come
detailed
up
person.
on stage and show you exactly what he wants.
Oh, yeah.
Give you the voice he wants you to give it in. Give you the timing down to the tick that he wants.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yes.
You know,
you know what he wants. He knows what he wants.
That. Yes, and he's an actor.
Yes.
And he's a director.
Yes.
And he's a great. He knows the theater inside and out.
Oh, absolutely.
And he taught me. I guess I used it for years, but had no idea of the. He taught me the rule of three. You do. This is how comedy works. You go ba-dum ba-dum, and then you get the audience. They go, and then you ba-dum, and they go, and then you go pa-pow, and they go, and that's how that works. I was doing it instinctively all those years, building a bit.
Right.
But then he said it during some rehearsal, and I went, wow. There's a rule to this? And I've thought of it ever since and used it for a lot ever since. And he was a great director. I just loved him. And he produced exactly what he wanted. He got the laughs and he got the show he wanted. And I was always, I loved being on stage with his
Yes.
with his mind at work as a director, you know, and knew just when to fall over backwards and he wanted those doors to slam loud.
Yes, he did. He wanted them loud and on a certain cue, right?
Yeah,
At a certain
absolutely.
Time. Not before, not after.
Uh-huh.
No, he's very good.
And
yes.
that's why he produced a great show
Yes.
every time.
Yes.
You know. And he was great fun to work with too. He had a great sense of humor, and he would let you try anything you wanted, and if it worked, you kept it in.
That's right.
You kept it in.
That's right.
If it didn't work, then he was going to give you exactly how it's going to work, and that's lovely. That's a director as far as I'm concerned. Somebody that'll let you have free reign and then rein you back in. There were some shows I did where I had free reign, and I have no idea. I never got any notes. I got laughs. I hope it was good.
Right.
I don't know if it could have been better because all I had was my vision.
Right.
And that's not always the best thing because I have a skewed vision of myself. I'm a lot taller than I think I am. I'm a lot funnier than I'm not as funny as I think I am in some situations, you know. And so my vision can be very skewed as an actor.
The director. So we talked a lot of the classic player directors. Paul, I didn't know. I don't know if he moved to the Dallas area or not.
Yeah. No, Colorado. Paul's lives in Colorado now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I see him on Facebook now and then. He's not doing anything with the theater that I know of. But he brought me into Lone Star, which was great. I did Lone Star, one of my favorite roles, as Ray, as I told you, bio. Ray, I just love Ray. I can fall into him in an instant. I did that with June Laskowski for JL Productions. I'd never heard of Lone Star. But I did Lone Star with Paul Bailiff, whom I worked with on stage here for the first time in Run for Your Wife. And he and I did Lone Star together. And it was the most laughs I've ever gotten on stage at all in any show. And we did dinner theaters with Lone Star. Oh, wow. And then years later, Paul, they started the Crighton Underground, which was, they did shows down here at the end building down the street, in a little, I don't know what you'd call it, just a tiny theater. Shadow box?
Huh? Yeah,
Black box. Yeah. And so he was doing Lone Star, and at that point I was really too old to do Ray, and I was too busy to do Ray. I don't know what the situation was, but I ended up doing Cletus in that show, and Wes Bush did Ray, and it's just one of the funniest shows that you're ever going to want, really. They say fucking it 19,000 times, and if you cut one out, shame on you, because it's just too Texas funny to cut out the language. The language is just too good. And so Paul directed me in that, and we put on a great show.
So what happened to the Crighton Underground?
I have no idea. It disappeared. I don't know. I left the board of directors, the politics of the Crighton long ago. The last thing I did with the board of directors was have a screaming match in the middle of the Simonton with Joe Weiser because he had precast Death of a Salesman, and I thought that I could probably do a really good Willie Loman. And Charlie Trotter did not even come to the auditions, did not even show up.
But he got the role. And Joe Weiser told me that it was precast.
And I was doing publicity for the Crighton players at that time, and I would always put in all of my publicity. There's no precasting. Please come and audition, kind of thing. And so I just took it to heart. Took it to heart. And we had a screaming match out there, and I quit the board of directors, and I was just ticked off that you didn't even give me a chance.
Let's talk about precasting, because there are certain theaters that get that name, that they precast, and that gets to be a bad taste amongst actors. That's from the actor perspective, okay? And I totally agree, yeah, precasting is a bad idea. Until you step in the director's role and you don't have anybody show up, then all of a sudden it's different. It's like, oh crap, who am I going to do this? And by the time you get to certain actors of a certain stature in the community, sometimes they just don't want, I mean, I've done 50 shows, 75 shows, I don't feel like auditioning. So do I have the role or not? Okay, I don't have to agree with it, disagree, but I've been there, done that. Let's talk about that.
It depends what you advertise.
Yes, yeah. So you say if you're upfront about it.
If you say you don't precast, then don't
do it.
precast.
Yeah. Now this.
If you say, I've seen a lot of auditions advertised that say this role's not available.
Right.
Then say this role's not available.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
Just upfront. Be upfront about it.
Be upfront, because certainly there's only so many people that are going to be able to play Evita. You know, there's only so many people that are going to be able to do certain roles.
Right.
And if you have the perfect person, cast them, precast them.
And say it.
Go ahead.
Be clear about it.
And say it and be clear about it. But don't roll me into an audition with under the guise of there's no precasting.
And you already have an
and
idea.
tell me we're not going to have anybody read for this role, or we're going to have the stage manager read this role because it's already cast.
Right.
That's all there is to it. Fine, precast it. You know, yeah, you got to from the simplest theater to the biggest movie roles. Oh, we're going to have Tom Cruise do this.
Guess what?
Now we can start casting the rest of the people. We're going to have Robin Williams do this. Now we can cast all the rest of the people. Fine. Just let it be known ahead of time. That's it. That's it. That's real simple. That's real simple. But don't try to pull the wool over people's eyes and lie to them. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to the public and let somebody opening up a paper the first time think, God, I've always wanted to do that. You know, I've never acted before. I've never been on stage before, but I think I can do Tevye.
Yeah.
If I were a rich man.
Well, give it a shot.
I've sung it in the shower 1,000,000 times, you know.
Yeah.
I know the role. I've seen the play. I've seen the movies. I've never seen the play. But I'm gonna go out and audition for that and walk in and find out, well, Tevye's been cast. That's mean. That's hard. You know, we're down to community theater level now. Professional actors expect that. In professional productions and stuff, you expect that. So.
Have you ever directed before?
I've directed small things, the plays that I've written. I've written a lot of children's theater things, and those I've written, produced, directed, but never classic theater. Never directed.
Yeah.
And never was asked to. Never really sought it out. I don't know. Not as much fun as acting. Takes too much time. Jesus, you have to study that thing from beginning to end. And, I'm sure I could do it. I was just never asked to and never sought it out. A full-blown stage production. You know, I'm sure I could do it. Knock on wood.
No, it might be like it's like a passion. If you have some people have a passion. For directing. If you have a passion
give me the show I love.
Yes.
Don't give me of the I sing to direct, and I would direct it probably. You know, and pay me well. And give me perks. I want insurance. I want a car waiting for me as I leave the theater.
Area water, 24/7, chilled. Right. Okay. Where's my limo?
There it is. Yeah.
No, tell me some other shows. What do you got there?
Oh my God. Rumpelstiltskin was a great show. That was a Crichton's Kids Productions, which did not appear also in those pictures. It's not there.
You're not a
there
single
was-
Crichton Kids
Huh?
picture? No Crichton Kids pictures?
There was, I don't think Babes in Toyland actually made it in, which was a magnificent show. There was Coconut Kids, Coconut, was that Coconut?
Sounds like Coconut Kids. I seem to remember
Coconut
Kids.
something. Coconut Capers.
Oh, Capers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a Crichton Kids production
Yeah.
that I played a pirate in. I was playing an old crazy guy in that.
Gee, a pirate.
Yeah, I had a few pirate roles. Once I got into it, I really enjoyed doing it. You know, I love doing that voice. And I love the movement.
You sure you're not on SpongeBob?
SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, yeah, I think they stole that from me. That
Oh,
was
yeah, they did.
That
They did.
was
You need to sue them.
after my time. So, yeah, they Rumpelstiltskin, Marty Craig did it. I think she was. I'm not sure how that occurred. It was a Crichton Kids production, and Missoula Children's Theater had been coming down doing shows, and for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but I was pre-cast as Rumpelstiltskin.
Gee, you're precast, but then they announce it.
I was pre-cast as Rumpelstiltskin, walked in with the role, and everybody else were munchkins, you know. Everybody else were midgets, and I was playing with people much smaller than me, for the most part. I think the king was taller than me. That guy. He got the romantic lead again. I got Rumpelstiltskin.
Hey.
You know, I got the firstborn, but I didn't get the girl.
Typecasting.
So that was a great show. I got to sing and dance in that, but it was fun singing and dancing, you know. And I didn't, if I got the lines right, it didn't matter. Because everybody was watching the craziness of it. And Marty Craig did a great job of directing a whole stage full of kids. They ought to put the pictures of that on that Crichton page.